Good evening. Welcome to this week's edition of the WayBack Movies podcast, a very special Christmas edition, a show where we review the best and not so best of the 80s and 90s cinema, because really, fuck the 2000s. My name is Steve, and with me on this crazy journey,
Jasmine.
And joining us for a very special episode, as I said, is our very good friend Aaron. Say hi to the folks.
Happy to join the body, pal.
So yes, we're back again for, I guess you could say, our Christmas party.
Yep.
Of our regularly scheduled program, and as we threatened pretty much all month, we're doing the most alternative, biggest debated Christmas movie ever, Die Hard.
Yes, sir.
Definitely my favorite Christmas movie.
That's like saying climate change is debated. There's a handful of idiots.
I very much agree with that. Yeah. I mean, at this point, it is pretty much just
the debate's dying down.
Yeah.
And I think the people that are still fighting are just
like five loud people.
Yeah. It's like the flat earthers.
Yeah.
You're never quite going to get rid of them, but at this point, I would assume most people would just shake their heads and just go, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah.
So yeah. So that's basically what we're doing, is just, I don't know.
I wanted to give you the most Christmassy movie as possible.
Yeah, we're never one to shy away from controversy, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
Although to cover, though,
yes,
over this course of this movie,
mm-hmm.
if there is any debate left, we will hopefully try our best to definitively prove this is a Christmas movie.
I mean, that's clearly our plan here.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're just going to basically prove all you naysayers wrong. So,
honestly, Christmas movies should be very basic. Does it take place at Christmas? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does it have Christmas music? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Does it reference Christmas? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Christmas movie.
Yeah. I mean, you know, no one seems to debate It's a Wonderful Life, yet that's not a Christmas movie, technically, if you want to get all technical. And
it's an angel movie.
Yeah, really.
It's like Angels in the Outfield. But at Christmas time.
That's true.
I want to see that movie right now.
I'd watch the shit out of that. So yeah, we could debate all we want, but I guess we might as well just jump back into the Wayback Machine and just go to July 20th of 1988 for Die Hard. You clearly haven't listened. We've got a Wayback Machine. Come on now. Just strap in, folks. It's going to be a long trip back. Oof. It's a rough trip. Jesus.
Hopefully we won't need some bubblegum.
I can go visit one-day-year-old me.
Yeah.
One-day me.
You're the youngin'.
85? I was 5.
88,
I was literally born yesterday.
88, I was 6 years old.
Oh, 88. I was 8.
Yeah. Yeah, so I can go visit 6-year-old me. And she'd be like, "Hey, I'm you.
Don't mess with the timeline."
This is what that's right, yeah, we discussed that last week. I'm not allowed to mess with the timeline. So, we're in the 80s for the great Die Hard. As I said, my favorite Christmas movie.
Let's get some tab.
They still make Tab in 2018.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't know. I can't find it. I didn't say I could find it.
You can get it easily.
Bring me Tab.
That's true. I mean, I guess we should all go get some Tab because we can't find it back in 2018. So, Die Hard was directed by John McTiernan with a screenplay by Jeb Stewart and Stephen D'Souza, based on Nothing Lasts Forever by Roderick Thorpe. Produced by Lawrence Gordon and Joel Silver, distributed by 20th Century Fox, with a box office of $140.8 million against a budget of $28 million, which...
Well done, you.
Yeah, really.
Nothing Lasts Forever sounds like an awesome 80s song.
It really does.
Nothing lasts forever.
That's a Gowan track, if I ever heard one. We've been drinking. So the cast is Bruce Willis as John McClane, Alan Rickman as Hans Gruber, Bonnie Bedelia as Holly Gennaro McClane, Reginald Vell Johnson as Sergeant Al Powell, Alexander Godunov as Carl, Hart Bochner as Harry Ellis, James Shigeta as Joseph Takagi, and Paul Gleason as Dwayne T. Robinson. Back again as that Paul Gleason.
Yep. Back-to-back weeks.
The man cannot go away. Although, as I found out, at least 3 people who were in our first Christmas movie of the year, Lethal Weapon, were in this as well.
Yep.
So, some notes about the flick. The novel was originally a sequel to The Detective, which was also by Roderick Thorpe, which was made into a movie of the same name, starring Frank Sinatra. And so initially when they went to make the sequel, which wasn't called Die Hard, they didn't really have a name. I'm guessing it would have been, Nothing Lasts Forever.
Detective 2.
Detective 2, Nothing Lasts Forever. When it went into production, they were contractually obligated to offer it to Frank Sinatra, who was 70 at the time. So clearly he passed.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
That kind of would have been interesting.
I would have liked to see that, just to see if he breaks into song halfway through.
If you could just drop that gun, that would be great.
Would you like to swing on a gun?
There you go. Title track.
Exactly.
On the soundtrack.
You finish up. I'm going to bang these 2 broads.
I need some vodka stat. Script was changed to basically not be a sequel after that. They basically came up with the whole idea of it being its own thing. The original script had the movie take place over the course of 3 days, but John McTiernan said it would be better in one night. Basically, it would have been, it's a lot more streamlined that way. He didn't want the villains to be terrorists. He believed it was really hard to make the movie light and fun if they're, terrorists, because, terrorists not exactly a good thing.
Can't really make a joyous romp.
It's really hard to do that.
There is terror in their names.
Exactly. They're not exactly like, oh, we're the fun terrorists. I don't think that's a thing. Yes, the happiest of all terrorists. Yes. The terrorists who stole Christmas. The script and more so the characterizations of John McClane weren't even figured out until they were about halfway through shooting, when they kind of figured out what was going to happen. Because Jeb, one of the writers, he had a fight with his wife, and they were fighting, and he was driving.
Did she get a job in Los Angeles?
Where you had to fly cross country at a Christmas party
with a big fucking bear. No, they were driving, and they had a fight, and they were driving behind a refrigerator truck, and one of the boxes fell out of the truck and almost hit them, but thankfully the refrigerator was empty. But if it had hit them, they would have died. And he sort of went, if I died in that moment, my wife and I would have basically, the last thing we would have said to each other is something along the lines of fuck you. So he put that into John McClane, and that was kind of where they ended up going with the character, and kind of made it into a,
Shakespearean.
A little bit, yeah, actually.
It's a good new trope.
Yeah. And much like we said with the Lethal Weapon, Mel Gibson turned down the role of John McClane.
Good.
Yeah. That would have been awkward.
As crazy as Bruce Willis is, good.
Yeah. That's very true. But so did Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Also good.
Right? Well, the original...
Hello, German terrorists! I am also German! I am going to stop you!
I have a story about that in 2 seconds, but
I have 3 friends named Hans!
Let me get there.
Do you know my friend Hans?
Trust me, it works better than you think. I
know you!
Aren't you my cousin? Get down! So... Originally, actually, the reason they offered it to Schwarzenegger is originally John McClane was written as every 80s action star, larger than life and a superhero, and once he passed, they were like, let's make him an everyman, because that seems like a better option. But that being said, though, the studio still didn't want Bruce Willis, because at that time he was on Moonlighting, and he was basically a comedy TV actor, so they're like, what the hell, he's not going to be a good action star, so even if you look at all of the posters of Die Hard originally, he's not on them, because they're like, yeah, we still don't trust him.
It's mostly just Nakatomi being blown up.
Yeah,
right?
It's mostly, the building also, and that helped Fox, because, that's their building. So, this was also Alan Rickman's first film. He'd only done British TV and plays, and actually one of the plays he was doing was John McTiernan actually went to it and looked at him and basically went, that's Hans Gruber.
Guy's got chops.
Really.
Chops for days.
Yeah, and definitely. On his first day of shooting, though, Alan Rickman jumped off a 3-foot drop, if you remember in the scene there. Yeah, he injured his knee, and was on crutches for 2 weeks and had a knee brace underneath his pants. So during that scene specifically, he's only standing on one leg because he can't put any weight on the other one because he fucked his knee up. And it was his first day of shooting. Good for him. Yeah. And this goes into what I said about Schwarzenegger. None of the actors that play the villains are German. Not a single one. Like, Carl is Russian. And,
you're telling me that Al Leong is not German?
No, not at all. Bob Genghis Khan, as it turns out, is not
German. The actors are.
Yes, the actors are not. But ironically, as they make fun of Bruce Willis for being the American tough guy, his mother's German, and he was born in Germany. So technically, Bruce Willis is German. So
is that where Bruno came from, or
no? Bruno is actually is a tough guy version for Bruce.
Oh,
because Bruce is not a very tough sounding name, so they called it Bruno. But he refers to himself as Bruno, as I found out.
I'm sure he does.
He absolutely does. I mean, first of all, it was one of his albums, which, if you don't know, Bruce Willis has done 2 blues albums under the name of Bruno.
Look them up, kids.
They're actually pretty good, I'm not going to lie. So the Nakatomi Plaza was the unfinished future headquarters for 20th Century Fox. Still is their headquarters to this day. Let's see. This story never fails to impress me. So, the production of this movie rented that building for the production of this movie. Which you would think, it's owned by the same company.
So they rented it from
20th Century Fox rented it from themselves.
Yes.
Is
And
that a Ponzi scheme?
No, but
and they overcharged themselves.
Yes. It's called accounting, and it allows them to cost the things out to pay less tax.
It is still fucking strange.
Well,
if you look at it on paper, that's
they
fucking
have good
weird.
accountants.
Do you know how Google doesn't pay any taxes? They charge themselves from Ireland for online intellectual property, thus making their American sales not profit. So the cost of selling in the States is counteracted by their intellectual property housed in Ireland that they charge themselves a shit ton of money and pay no tax there. I'm sure Fox did something similar.
Oh yes, they did. And again, they got a pretty penny out of themselves.
I'm sure there was a tax shelter somewhere that owned the building to rent to them that made the profit off of it.
Oh, there's more to that story later on, but we'll get to that later in the movie. Bruce Willis recommended Bonnie Bedelia for the role, which I thought was kind of cool. Let's see here.
Who's Bonnie Bedelia?
Holly.
Oh, okay.
The woman. The only woman in the movie that isn't, like, a Playboy playmate or a penthouse pet.
Holly Gennaro. She will always be Holly to me.
Yeah, that's true. So Reginald Vell Johnson gets Twinkies thrown in his car to this day. But
she's just driving around, just trying to go home.
Yeah.
Hey, Al!
Yep. That literally happens. But he did say he loves Twinkies, so he's cool with it.
He just brings his window down so they get in the car.
Pretty much,
Like, hey, free Twinkies.
It's like, hey, free Twinkies. Like,
throw it at me, just hand it to me so I just eat it.
Chances are he'd probably say hi to you. Just hand him a fucking Twinkie and shake his hand. I'm pretty sure he'd appreciate it as opposed to throwing.
How many Twinkies do you think he's signed?
A surprising amount, I'm sure.
Wait, would he sign the Twinkie or just the box? Because I think it'd be more interesting if you hand him an actual Twinkie to sign.
But that will biodegrade, so you don't want that.
I guess. Well, yeah, in like 20 years.
You see
well,
that?
no. In the movie, he tries to eat a fucking 30-year-old Twinkie, and it fucking tastes like shit somehow.
But the building's being... That's a continuity error.
I
the
agree,
building's being
yes.
built. How's there a 20-year-old Twinkie in a building that was just built?
I agree.
Did the construction worker bring a 20-year-old Twinkie with him and maybe I'll eat this today?
Maybe. Maybe today's the day. I'm holding on to this Twinkie forever. And when this building is complete, I will finally eat the Twinkie.
There are so many.
Some people smoke cigars when things are done. Some people eat old-ass
Twinkies.
Twinkies.
So many preservatives, and it would last a very long time.